Hey guys, what's up? It's Johnny, and welcome to another countdown. I figured with this countdown, we're going to take a little break a little bit from Has-Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, more so Has-Been because, well, I already did all of Hell of a Boss. And I'm going to give you a different countdown today. I am going to give you my countdown of my favorite Kevin Smith movies. Yes, for anybody who doesn't know, how you can't, I don't know. I do talk about it a lot on the channel. I am from New Jersey, and that is where Kevin Smith is from. He is a New Jersey actor, producer, director, writer, film editor. He does it all. Honestly, he is one of my all-time favorites. I've seen him, of course. I've seen just about all his movies, except for a couple. But his main ones I've seen. I have actually seen him on That 90s Show. I've seen those episodes. I have seen, I think it's only one episode, but I think it's multiple episodes, that he's been on Degrassi. I love Kevin Smith. He's a great person. Funny, everything. I just wanted to do this as my countdown of my top 5 favorite Kevin Smith movies. So, I guess before we go into the countdown, we should maybe learn a little bit about Kevin Smith. So, Kevin Patrick Smith, born August 7th, 1970, is an American writer, director, producer, film editor, and actor. He came to prominence with the low-budget comedy film Clerks in 1994, which he wrote, directed, co-produced, co-edited, and acted in as the character Silent Bob of stoner duo Jay and Silent Bob. These characters also appeared in Smith's later films Mallrats, 1995, Chasing Amy, 1997, Dogma, 1999, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, 2001, Clerks 2 in 2006, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot in 2019, and Clerks 3 2022, which are set primarily in his home state of New Jersey. While not strictly sequential, these films have crossover plot elements, character references, and shared canon known as the View Askew universe, named after Smith's production company, View Askew Production, which he co-founded with Scott Mosier. He is a supporting actor in film, his most prominent role playing a rogue computer hacker in Live Free or Die Hard, 2007. He has made cameos in other movies. His other non-View Askew universe films, written and directed by Smith, include the comedy drama Jersey Girls, 2004, the sex comedy Zack and Miri Make a Porno, 2008, Cop Out, 2010, the horror Red State, 2011, and the comedy horror Tusk, 2014. He has directed numerous episodes for television series such as The Flash, 2016 to 2018, Supergirl, 2017 to 2018, The Goldbergs, 2017 to 2019, and created the animated television series Clerks the Animated Series in 2000, and Netflix's Masters of the Universe, 2021 to 2024. Smith owns Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey, a comic book store which became the setting for the reality television show Comic Book Men, 2012 to 2018. As a podcaster, Smith co-hosts several shows on his Smodcast podcast network, including Smodcast Fat Man Beyond and the live show Hollywood Babylon. He is known for participating in long, humorous Q&A sessions that are often filmed for release, beginning with the DVD release of An Evening with Kevin Smith in 2000. So, a little bit of his early life. As I said before, Kevin Patrick Smith was born on August 2nd, 1970 in Red Bank, New Jersey, the son of Grace. Unfortunately, she passed away last year, 1945 to 2025, a homemaker, and Donald E. Smith, 1936, unfortunately passed away in 2003, a postal worker. He has two siblings, an older sister, Virginia, and an older brother, Donald Jr. He was raised in a Catholic household in the nearby calming town of Highlands. Smith's childhood was scheduled around his father's late shifts at the post office. His father grew to despise his job, which greatly influenced Smith, who remembers his father finding it difficult on some days to get up and go to work. Smith vowed never to work at something that he did not enjoy. Smith attended Henry Hudson Regional High School, where he was a B and C student, videotaped basketball games, and produced Saturday Night Live-style sketch comedy. An overweight teen, he developed into a comedic observer to life to socialize with friends and girls. After high school, Smith attended the New School in New York City, but did not graduate. Smith met Jason Mewes while working at a youth center. They became friends after discovering a mutual interest in comic books. Let's see. So, yeah. It's... Kevin Smith is just an awesome guy. And, yeah, this is something I've kind of wanted to do for a bit. To kind of show off Kevin and talk about him. And, yeah, so... I guess with that being said, let's get to the countdown. Alright guys, so here we go. First movie, as you saw, in my top 5 is Jay and Silent Bob's Super Groovy Cartoon Movie. Jay and Silent Bob's Super Groovy Cartoon Movie is a 2013 American adult animated superhero comedy film written by Kevin Smith, directed and co-animated by Steven Stark, and produced by Jason Mewes and Jordan Monsanto. The film script was adapted from the Blunt Man and Chronic comic book story, originally written by Smith, as a companion piece to his 2001 film Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and it is the 7th film in the View Askewniverse. The plot. After winning $10 million from a scratch card they bought at the Quick Stop, Jay and Silent Bob decided to become superheroes Blunt Man and Chronic, a parody of Batman and Robin. They built a secret fortress of solitude beneath RST Video and acquired all the necessary gadgets and accessories to make them ideal crime fighters. They also hired their own butler, Albert, a parody of Alfred Pennyworth. Throughout their crime-fighting ordeals, they managed to accidentally create a few superpowered enemies of their own, who together form the League of Shitters. The League of Shitters consists of Lipstick Lesbian, Dickhead, Newsgroup, Cockknocker, and the Diddler. While at a ceremony in which Blunt Man and Chronic are to be awarded the key to the city of Red Bank, the League of Shitters attack the dynamic duo and knock themselves unconscious. They then attempt to infiltrate the Blunt Cave, resulting in the deaths of Newsgroup and Diddler. They are crushed by a wall that reveals the entrance to the hideout. Lipstick Lesbian, mortally stabs Albert in the back and places Blunt Man and Chronic into a giant bong that is slowly filling up with water. After leaving the heroes to die, the villains descend upon Red Bank, killing everyone in their path. Albert uses the last of his strength to free the heroes before dying. Vowing to avenge Albert, Blunt Man and Chronic fly to Red Bank in the Blunt Jet to save the city from the League of Shitters' mayhem. An epic fight ensues in which Blunt Man subdues Dickhead by tricking him into entering a gay bar, and Chronic kills Cockknocker with a broken beer bottle. A lipstick lesbian draws a gun and attempts to shoot Blunt Man and Chronic, but they are miraculously saved by a new super heroine, Blunt Girl. Blunt Girl defeats Lipstick Lesbian single-handedly and begins to show romantic interest in Blunt Man. Chronic is jealous and expresses his desire for... I'm not going to go there. Blunt Man agrees to this, however, she penetrates Chronic with a, much to Chronic's distaste. Blunt Girl asks Blunt Man, who's reading a comic and smoking a cigarette, if he ever experienced anything of the like, to which he replies, yeah, when Ben Affleck played Daredevil. During the credits, it is noted that Jay and Silent Bob will return in Clerks 3. After the credits, Jay and Silent Bob are visited by Stan Lee, who wishes to speak to them about the Avenger initiative. Shortly after, they are all picked up by Doc Brown, who requests their help in getting back to the future. The cast. Jason Mewes plays Jay/Chronic. Kevin Smith plays Silent Bob, Blunt Man, and himself. Eliza Dushku plays Lipstick Lesbian. Tara Strong plays Cockknocker and Small Fry the Science Guy. Ralph Garman plays Dickhead and Doc Brown. Neil Gaiman as Albert the Manservant. Ben Glebs as Newsgroup. John Lovitz as the Mad Scientist. Jennifer Schwabach as Blunt Girl. Ray William Johnson as Quickstop Hipster. Scott Mosier as the General and Quickstop Hipster Guy. Ming Chen as Shower Bully 1. Brian Johnson as Shower Bully 2. And Travis the Comic Hating Bully. Walt Flanagan as Shower Bully 3. And Gigara ad narrator. Kevin Conroy as the Mayor of Red Bank. Brian Fodaro as the Diddler. Jensen Karp as Dickhead's doctor. Stephen Stark as Newsgroup's mother and internet cafe waitress. Brian O'Halloran as Dante Hicks. And Stan Lee as himself. So that is Blunt Man and, well, no, not Blunt Man and Chronic, but Jay and Silent Bob's super groovy cartoon movie. What movie is number 4? Let's find out. Alright, number 4 on this list is Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Zack and Miri Make a Porno is a 2008 American sex comedy film written, edited, and directed by Kevin Smith. It stars Seth Rogen, Elizabeth Banks, Craig Robinson, Jason Mewes, Tracy Lords, Jeff Andrews, Katie Morgan, and Rick Mabel. The film follows the lives of friends Zack, played by Rogen, and Miri, played by Banks, who are facing financial troubles and decided to make an adult film to solve their problems. Zack and Miri Make a Porno had its premiere at the 2008 Toronto International Film Festival on September 7th, 2008, and was released in the United States on October 31st by the Weinstein Company. The film received generally positive reviews from critics and grossed $42.8 million against a $24 million budget. The plot. Zac Brown and Miri Linky are roommates and have been friends since the first grade. Despite Miri's job at the local shopping mall and Zac's at a coffee shop, their utility bills have been unpaid for months. Their water is shut off before Thanksgiving and their high school reunion. At the reunion, Miri attempts to seduce her attractive former classmate Bobby Long, while Zac converses with Brandon St. Randy, Bobby's gay porn star boyfriend. After the reunion, the apartment electricity is turned off. Inspired by Brandon and a viral video of Miri changing clothes for the reunion, Zac convinces a reluctant Miri they should make a pornographic film to earn money. They decided to make a pornographic Star Wars parody entitled Star Whores. Delaney, the film's producer, and Zac's co-worker, rents film equipment and a building to use as a studio. After the first night of filming, the building is demolished with all the equipment and costumes inside. The man that rented it to them has run off with the money. Later at the coffee shop where Zac works, he finds a hidden camera his boss installed and decides to use it to replace their film equipment. Zac retools his film to take place in the coffee shop, revamping the film to one with a coffee shop motif, Swallowing My Cappuccino. The group shoots the film after hours. Despite insisting that they would not let sex with each other affect their friendship, Zac and Miri soon developed romantic feelings for each other. When it comes time for Zac and Miri to have sex on camera, they find that instead of the clinical sex enacted by the actors in the other scenes, their interlude is romantic and heartfelt. Later the next evening, Zac and Miri are about to discuss their reactions to the scene when their apartment's electricity and water service return. The rest of the actors and crew reveal that they pooled their resources to pay 1 month of the couple's bills and are throwing them an early wrap party. At the party, one of the other actresses, Stacy, asks Miri about asking Zac to have sex since she's nervous about their upcoming scene. Miri realizes she has feelings for Zac but approves Stacy's request. When Stacy relates this to Zac, the two retreat to Zac's bedroom, much to Miri's dismay. The next evening, Zac is preparing a scene between Stacy and another actor, Lester. That was supposed to have been with Lester and Miri. Zac is dismayed when Miri insists on shooting the scene as originally planned. In the back room, an incredulous Zac asks if she is doing this to retaliate, pointing out that Stacy told him that Miri did not mind her sleeping with Zac. Miri corrects him, clarifying that she did not mind that Stacy offered to sleep with him, perceiving this to have been some type of test. Zac admits that during the sex scene they filmed together, they were making love and emotionally connected, and that he loves Miri. When Miri does not reciprocate, Zac storms out, quitting the film and his job, and moves out of the apartment. 3 months later, Delaney goes to see Zac, now a goon, in a costume, letting people shoot him with paintball guns during Pittsburgh Penguins hockey games. Delaney convinces him to come to see the unfinished film and help complete it. Zac agrees and learns that Miri never filmed her scene with Lester. Zach goes to Mary's apartment and reveals that he never slept with Stacy. Instead, they talked about Mary all night. He proclaims his love to Mary, who reciprocates. In a post-credit scene, Zach and Mary get married, and aided by Delaney and his workers' compensation settlement, start their own video production company. Zach and Mary Make Your Porno, which makes videos for amateur couples. The cast. Seth Rogen plays Zach Brown, Elizabeth Banks as Mary Linky, Craig Robinson as Delaney, Jason Mewes as Lester, Tracy Lords as Bubbles, Jeff Anderson as Deacon Anderson, Katie Morgan as Stacy, Rick Mabe as Barry, Justin Long as Brandon St. Randy, Brandon Routh as Robert Bobby Long, Tyler LeBain as Drunk Willie, Tisha Campbell Martin as Angela, Tom Saban as Jenkins, Jennifer Schwabach as Betsy, Gary Bednob as Mr. Surya, Kenny Holtz as Zach 2 Kunson, Betty Albertson as Miss Copley, and David Early as Auditioner. So it did receive an R rating, which is about right for Kevin Smith movies. It's funny, I will say one of the lines that always stand out for me is, I believe it goes something to the effect of, guy comes in while they're filming in the coffee shop, and he's drunk as hell. I forget if he came from a Steelers game or from a Penguins game. I think it was a Steelers game. And literally, as he's getting the coffee, he goes, hunkin' chunkin' football. So yeah, I mean, it's just an awesome movie. And yeah, it comes in at number 4. So, now let's take a look. What made number 3? Alright. Not video, but movie. Number 3, as you can see, is the 1995 film Mallrats. I will admit, I kind of love this movie because, well, I live in New Jersey. Being a mall rat, at least with me growing up, was a huge thing. Being a mall rat pretty much was, you go to the mall, you hang out at the mall, you normally don't buy anything, you just hang out. You maybe go to the food court. Maybe the only thing you buy is like something from the food court, pretzel, slice of pizza, some soda, maybe some food. That's it. You really don't buy anything from the store, or if you do, it's only one specific store that you go to the mall for. But that's pretty much being a mall rat. And the fact that Kevin, because he grew up in Jersey, took this and made it into a movie is just, well, awesome. So, here's the info about Mallrats. Mallrats is a 1995 American buddy comedy film written and directed by Kevin Smith. The film stars Shannon Doherty, Jeremy London, Jason Lee, Claire Forlani, Priscilla Barnes, and Michael Rooker. It is the second film in the View Askew universe. The film follows two best friends as they retreat to a local mall after being dumped by their girlfriends on the same day. Mallrats had its premiere at the Cineplex Odeon Universal City Cinemas in Universal City, California on October 19th, 1995, and was released in the United States on October 20th by Gramercy Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $2.1 million against a $6.1 million budget. It has since gained a cult following. Well, yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's on this list by me. The plot. College student T.S. Quint is preparing for a trip to Universal Studios Florida in Orlando with Brandy Seving, during which he plans to propose to her. However, Brandy tells him that she cannot go due to having volunteered to fill in as a contestant on Truth or Date, her father's dating game show, because the original contestant had died from an embolism bursting in her brain while swimming 700 laps at the local YMCA. Following T.S.'s comment regarding her weight, Brandy and T.S. argue over his responsibility, and the two break up. T.S. turns to his best friend, Brody Bruce, who has been dumped by his girlfriend Renee, and Brody suggests that the two might find comfort at the local mall. Brody and T.S. discover Truth or Date is being filmed at the same mall through their friend William, who throughout the film tries to see a sailboat in a Magic Eye poster. The two ask local slackers Jay and Silent Bob to destroy the show's stage, a task for which they devise elaborate but ultimately unsuccessful plans. Brody and T.S. run into Trisha Jones, a 15-year-old senior who is writing a book on the sex drive of men ages 14 through 30, for which she has sex with various men as research, and films every encounter. She then reveals that the previous night she had sex with Shannon Hamilton, a 25-year-old clothing store manager who hates Brody because of his lack of shopping agenda. Brody learns that Renee began a relationship with Shannon. Brody confronts Renee to find out more about the relationship, and the two have sex in an elevator. Brody is later abducted and attacked by Shannon, who intends to have with Renee. As a result of this incident, Jay and Silent Bob assault the mall's Easter Bunny under the incorrect assumption that he attacked Brody. Brandy's father, Jared, has Brody and T.S. arrested on false charges of drug possession at the mall. Jay and Silent Bob are able to rescue Brody and T.S. as they hide out at a local flea market. They encounter Ivana, a topless fortune teller with 3 nipples, who offers advice on their relationship problems. While Brody is visibly uncomfortable with the situation, T.S. pays close attention to Ivana's advice and declares to win Brandy back. Eventually, the two return to the mall. Before the show begins, Brody meets famed Marvel legend Stan Lee, who gives him advice on romance. After this, Brody requests that his friend Trisha Jones receive footage of her having sex with Shannon. Meanwhile, T.S. also persuades Jay to get 2 of the game show contestants stoned, which allows him and Brody to replace them on Truth or Date. During the show, Brandy recognizes the voice of Brody and T.S., leading to an on-air argument between them. Brody eventually intervenes, explaining that T.S. has spent the entire day pining for Brandy. Subsequently, T.S. proposes to Brandy, who accepts. After the show concludes, and as the police arrive to arrest T.S. and Brody, Silent Bob broadcasts a sex tape featuring Shannon and Trisha. This leads to Shannon's arrest for... In the extended cut, Jared is arrested for 19 FCC violations and broadcasting lewd or indecent images in a public forum. Consequently, Brody and Renee rekindle their relationship. The conclusion reveals that T.S. marries Brandy at Universal Studios while on the Jaws attraction. Trisha's book is a bestseller. Shannon is imprisoned, and subsequently, William eventually does see the sailboat. Brody becomes the host of The Tonight Show with Renee as his band leader, and that Jay and Silent Bob get an orangutan named Susan. The cast. Shannon Doherty is Renee Mosier, Jeremy London as T.S. Quint, Jason Lee as Brody Bruce, Claire Forlani as Brandy Sevings, Priscilla Barnes as Miss Ivana, Michael Rucker as Jared Sevings, Ben Affleck as Shannon Hamilton, Joey Lauren Adams as Gwen Turner, Renee Humphrey as Trisha Jones, and Jason Mewes as Jay, Kevin Smith as Silent Bob, Ethan Suffley as William, Stan Lee as himself, Elizabeth Ashley in the extended edition only as Governor Dalton, Sev Ol Thornton as LaFleurs, Scott Mosier as Roddy, Walt Flanagan as Walt Fanboy Grover, Brian Johnson as Steve Dave Pulsati, Brian O'Halloran as Gil Hicks, suitor number 3, and Art James as Bob Summers, host of Truth or Date. Again, like I said, being a mall rat myself, this movie just holds a lot for me, and I just absolutely love it. So, now, let's get to what is film number 2 on this list. Film number 2, this may be a little surprise. For a lot of people, this would be the number 1 film, but for me, it is number 2. And that is ultimately the film that started it all, Clerks. Now, I can say this, it is something because I can relate to Clerks. I used to work in a convenience store, literally called Quick Check. And yeah, I mean, I kind of know a lot about some of the stuff that's talked about in the movie. So it's like, when I finally saw this movie, it was almost like, hey, they're actually doing a movie. There's a movie out there about kind of like what I've been through, like what I've seen some of. So anyway, let's get into it. Clerks is a 1994 American black and white comedy film written and directed by Kevin Smith. The independent film stars Brian O'Halloran, Jeff Anderson, Marilyn Giolotti, Jason Mewes, and Lisa Spooner. It presents a day in the lives of store clerks Dante Hicks, played by O'Halloran, and Randall Graves, played by Anderson, as well as their acquaintances. It is the first of Smith's View Askewniverse films, and introduces several reoccurring characters, notably Jay and Silent Bob, played by Mewes and Smith, respectively. The film was initially shot for $27,575 before its film rights were purchased by Miramax Films, and $230,000 was spent on music licensing and editing. It was shot in the convenience store and video stores where Smith worked in real life. Clerks had its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 22nd, 1994, and was released in the United States on October 19th. The film received positive reviews and grossed $4.4 million, launching Smith's career. Often regarded as a landmark in independent filmmaking, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress in 2019 as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. In 2006, a sequel was released, followed by a third installment in 2022. The plot. On his day off, Dante Hicks, a retail clerk at the Quick Stop Groceries convenience store in Leonardo, New Jersey, is instructed by his boss via phone call to cover another employee's morning shift. Dante asks to end early at noon to play a hockey game with friends later that day, with the boss coming in himself. Arriving to find the locks to the security shutters jammed closed with gum, he drapes a sheet over the shutters with "I assure you we're open" in shoe polish. He repeatedly laminates, "I'm not even supposed to be here today." The first customer of the day is a man who attempts to convince cigarette-buying customers that they should buy Chuli's brand gum instead of cigarettes, displaying a bag containing what he claims is a diseased human lung, corroded by tar. A crowd soon gathers around Dante, hastily blaming him for the ills of cancer because he sells cigarettes at the man's impassioned urging. Dante's girlfriend Veronica Lauren enters, quickly calms the crowd down with a fire extinguisher, and confronts the man, who is revealed to be a Chuli's representative wishing to sell more gum. She orders him out along with the crowd, chiding them for wasting their lives. Shortly after, Dante and Veronica converse behind the counter regarding Dante's current disposition. Then she encounters an old boyfriend of hers, a customer named William Black, and admits to Dante that she engaged in snowballing with Black, performed fellatio on 36 other guys before their current relationship. Dante jealously considers her past acts as more severe than his own, which includes having sex with 12 different women before her. She then storms out, furious with Dante's insensitivity. Dante's best friend, wisecracking slacker Randall Graves, soon arrives late for his own workday at the RST video rental store next door. Although he mostly keeps Dante company at the Quick Stop, Dante finds out from him that his unfaithful ex-girlfriend Caitlin Bree, with whom he still secretly communicates, is engaged. Some customers they encounter are angry and demanding, others are clueless and impolite, and still others provide unexpectedly wise. During lunch, Dante and Veronica reconcile their respective sexual pasts. Dante is notified that his boss is vacationing in Vermont, leaving him to run the store. Dante convinces his friend to have their friends to have their hockey game on the roof and temporarily closes it down. 12 minutes in, an irate customer arrives demanding that Dante open the store and criticizing his playing, and ultimately sabotages the game. After Dante discovers that an ex-girlfriend of his, Julie Dwyer, has died, he and Randall temporarily depart for the memorial service. The visit is disastrous, and the two flee the funeral home. Their conversation when they return to the store reveals that Randall accidentally toppled Julie's casket. Two of Dante's former high school classmates, Rick Darris and Heather Jones, inform him that everyone in their graduating class, except for him, knew of Caitlin's infidelity, and that Rick even had sexual intercourse with Caitlin. A health department representative interrupts their conversation and questions Dante about his earlier whereabouts, then fines him $500 for selling cigarettes to a 4-year-old, even though Randall accidentally stole them. Afterwards, Caitlin visits Dante, having ended her engagement. Torn between her and Veronica, he finally pursues a date with Caitlin, returning to his house to prepare. However, an incident in the store bathroom renders her chaotic. In the darkness, she had with who she thought was Dante, but was really an elderly customer who suffered a fatal heart attack while, to a Korn magazine Dante provided him earlier. She is carted away in an ambulance along with the corpse. Drug dealers Jay and Silent Bob enter the Quick Stop to shoplift and unsuccessfully indict Dante to a party with them after hours. Aware of Dante's problems, Silent Bob tersely reasons that he truly loves Veronica. However, Randall reveals that he has already confessed the previous events to her, and she furiously and dramatically dumps Dante. Upset and furious, Dante brawls with Randall, trashing the Quick Stop in the process. After a brief, crucial moment of clarity between them, Dante rants at Randall, blaming him for the day's events, before repeating his relent of, "I'm not even supposed to be here today." Randall furiously blows up at Dante, reminding him that he abandoned his post to slack off several times of his own accord, but arrived at work nevertheless, and could have left at any point but did not, and furthermore, neither of them are as advanced as they think they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't suck at such lowly jobs. The two reconcile and clean up, with Dante planning to take the next day off to visit Caitlin in the hospital and attempt reconciliation with Veronica. Before departing, Randall tosses Dante's shoe polish sign in his face and declares, "You're closed." The cast. We have Brian O'Halloran as Dante Hicks, Jason Anderson as Randall Graves, Marilyn Gialotti as Veronica Lauren, Lisa Sapor as Caitlin Bree, Jason Mewes as Jay, Kevin Smith as Silent Bob, Scott Mosier as William Black, Angry Hockey Playing Customer, and Angry Mourner. Scott Shafiso as Chewlies Gum Representative, Al Berkowitz as Old Man, Walt Flanagan as Woolen Cap Smoker, Egg Obsessed Guidance Counselor, Offended Customer, and Cat Admiring Bitter Customer. Ed Hapstick as Sanford and Angry Funeral Woman, Paget Siskin as Coroner, Ken Clark as Administrator of Fine and Orderly, Ernest O'Donnell as Trainer, Rick Darris, Kimberly Lauren as Heather Jones, Gary Stearns as Tabloid Reading Customer, Lee Bednick as Wynarski, the Impatient Customer, John Henry Worshead as Olaf, the Russian Metalhead, Betsy Brown as Dental School Retainer, Grace Smith as Milkmaid, and yes, Grace Smith, that is Kevin's mom, Frances Sessi as Little Smoking Girl, Joey Lauren Adams in the 2004 special edition as Allison Jones, voice, and additional roles are played by David Kine and Vincent Piera. Yeah, like I said, this is the film that started it all. And, you know, like I said, absolutely love it. It's where it should be. And, you know, if it wasn't for this movie, Kevin wouldn't be Kevin. So now, before we get to number one, let's get to some honorable mentions. Because there's two. Okay, so the first movie in our honorable mentions is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. So this one, you know, you're not going to get everything, you're just going to get a little bit. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is a 2001 American satirical stoner buddy action comedy film written, co-edited, and directed by Kevin Smith. The film stars Jason Mewes and Smith, respectively, as the duo in Cryptus characters, along with Ben Affleck, Eliza Dushku, Shannon Elizabeth, Will Ferrell, Ali Leiter, Jason Lee, and Chris Rock. It is the 5th film in the View Askew universe. The story follows Jay and Silent Bob as they discover a movie is being made about their comic book alter egos, Bluntman and Chronic. But they've been cut out of the profits, leading them to travel to Hollywood to sabotage the film's production. The title and logo for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back are direct references to The Empire Strike Back. Originally intended to be the last film set in the Askewniverse, or to feature Jay and Silent Bob, it features many characters from the previous View Askew films, some in dual roles and or reprising roles. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back had its premiere at the Man Bruin Theater in Los Angeles, California on August 15th, 2001, and was released in the United States on August 24th by Miramax Films through Dimension Films. The film received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $33.8 million against a budget of $22 million. A sequel, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, was released in October 2019. In the same year, Smith additionally readapted the pilot of the film to the character of Mindy McCreed / Hit Girl in the iconic comic book series Hit Girl, The Golden Rage of Hollywood, with Dave Liszewski filling the role of Banky Edwards. A third film titled Jay and Silent Bob Store Wars is in development. Now, the second movie that is an honorable mention for me is the movie Chasing Amy. I just really do enjoy this movie. I think it's very fun. It does show a lot with LGBTQ. And yeah, so Chasing Amy is a 1997 American romantic comedy drama film written and directed by Kevin Smith and starring Ben Affleck, Joey Lauren Adams, and Jason Lee. The third film in Smith's View Askew universe series, the film is about a male comic artist, Affleck, who falls in love with a lesbian, Adams, to the displeasure of his best friend, Lee. The film was inspired by a brief scene from an early film by a friend of Smith's in Genevieve Turner's Go Fish. One of the lesbian characters imagines her friend passing judgment on her for selling out by sleeping with a man. Smith was dating Adams at the time, and he was writing the script, which also partly inspired her. Chasing Amy premiered at the Sundance Film Festival on January 24th, 1997, before being released by Miramax Film on April 4th, 1997. The film received mostly positive reviews, which praised the humor, the performance, and Kevin Smith's direction, while grossing $12 million on a $250,000 budget. The film won 2 awards at the 1998 Independent Spirit Award, Best Screenplay for Smith and Best Supporting Actor for Lee. Characters from the film would go on to appear in later Askewniverse films Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Direct spin-offs of Chasing Amy with Affleck, Lee, Adams, and Dwight L. reprising their roles in cameo appearances. Smith describes the characters' roles in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot as being an 8-page sequel to Chasing Amy. So there you have it. There are the honorable mentions. And now here's the time you've been waiting for. My number one pick for Kevin Smith. Out of all the movies, which one do you think I picked for number one? If you know me, it's not that hard. If you don't, maybe it'll be a surprise, maybe it won't. But let's take a look at number one. Alright, you guys just saw I don't want to call it a thumbnail, but you guys saw what it is. My number one pick is the film Dogma. I just honestly think this is a great movie. It does show a little bit of what some people do believe for certain things with like the Catholic religion, etc. Now I will say about this is one of the funny things about this movie is literally a church protested this movie. Not a big surprise. But did you know that Kevin Smith picketed his own movie? You don't believe me? Well, take a look at this clip.
The new movie Dogma opens tonight, and it's already generating a huge amount of controversy, and so is its creator, Kevin Smith, who lives right here in New Jersey.
News 12 New Jersey's Caroline Shively reports on one protest against the movie in Eatontown tonight.
Hail Mary, full of grace.
Organizers in Eatontown had hoped for hundreds to join them in the protest against the movie Dogma. Instead, they got less than 24, but they were joined by this man. He wouldn't admit it, but he looked and sounded suspiciously like Dogma's writer, director, co-star, and New Jersey resident, Kevin Smith.
I don't think it stands for anything positive.
What does it stand for?
I don't know, but I've been told not good.
The movie follows two fallen angels who try to get back into heaven and the people who are fighting to keep them out.
I was the 13th apostle.
You knew Christ.
No, brother owes me $12.
But lines like that have many groups angry.
We're here with a small number, but we're the church militant. We should have more Catholics here. If this was a direct attack against Muslims or the Holocaust or the Jewish people, you would see them outraged.
The protesters didn't seem to slow down the number of people pouring into the theater to see the film.
Just makes me want to see it more, actually, if there's controversy about it.
I think they might be taking it too seriously. I mean, it's just a film. It's a comedy, so you really shouldn't take it too seriously.
The battle between the protesters and filmmakers is sure to continue for as long as the film runs. But in the end, this is a fight that might be won or lost at the box office. In Eatontown, Caroline Shively, News 12, New Jersey.
Smith's production company, View Askew, actually posts hate mail it receives on its website.
I told you. So, yeah, so now on to Dogma. Dogma is a 1999 American fantasy comedy film written, co-edited, and directed by Kevin Smith. The film stars Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Linda Fiorentino, Selma Hayek, Jason Lee, Jason Mewes, Alan Rickman, yes, Alan Rickman, Professor Snape, and Chris Rock. It is the fourth film in the View Askewniverse. The story revolves around two fallen angels who plan to employ an alleged loophole in Catholic dogma to return to heaven after being cast out by God. But as existence is founded on the principle that God is infallible, their success would prove God wrong. thus undoing all creation. The last descendant of Jesus Christ and 2 prophets are sent by the angel Metatron to stop them. Dogma screened out of competition at the 1999 Cannes Film Festival on May 21st, 1999, and was released in the United States on November 12th by Lionsgate. The film's irreverent treatment of Catholicism and the Catholic Church triggered considerable controversy even before its opening. The Catholic League denounced it as blasphemy, organized protests delaying its release in many countries, and led to at least 2 death threats against Smith. Despite this, Dogma received genuinely positive reviews from critics and grossed $45 million against its $10 million budget, becoming the highest grossing film in the View Askew Universe series to date. The film was distributed by Miramax, run at the time by Harvey Weinstein. Plot: Bartleby and Loki, fallen angels, eternally banished from heaven to Wisconsin for insubordination after an inebriated Loki resigned as the Angel of Death at Bartleby's suggestion. In a newspaper article that arrived anonymously, the angels discover a way home. Cardinal Ignatius Glick is redirecting his church in Red Bank, New Jersey, in the image of the Buddy Christ. Anyone who enters the church during the redification festivities will receive a plenary indulgence remitting all sins. Were the banished angels to undergo this rite and then die after transmuting into human form, God would have no choice but to allow them re-entry into heaven. They are encouraged by the demon Azrael and the Syntagon triplets, 3 teenage hoodlums who serve Azrael in hell. Bethany Sloan, a despondent abortion clinic counselor, attends a service at her church in McHenry, Illinois. Donations are solicited for a campaign to stop a Red Bank hospital from disconnecting life support on John Doe, Jersey, a homeless man who was beaten into a coma by the triplets. Metatron, a seraphim and the voice of God, appears to Bethany in a pillar of fire and explains that if Bartleby and Loki succeed in re-entering heaven, they will overrule the Word of God, disprove the fundamental concept of God's omnipotence, and nullify all existence. Bethany, aided by 2 prophets, must stop the angels and save the universe. Now a target, Bethany is attacked by the triplets, who are driven off by the 2 foretold prophets, drug-dealing stoners, Jay and Silent Bob. Bethany and the prophets are joined by Rufus, the 13th apostle, and Serendipity, the muse of creative inspiration, who now works at a strip club in search of inspiration of her own. Azrael summons the Goliathan, a vile creature made of human excrement, but Bob immobilizes it with aerosol air freshener. On a train to Red Bank, a drunken Bethany reveals her mission to Bartleby, who tries to kill her. Bob throws the angels off the train. Bartleby and Loki now realize the consequences of their scheme. Loki wants no part of destroying all existence, but Bartleby remains angry at God for his expulsion, and for granting free will to humans while demanding servitude from angels, and resolves to proceed. In Red Bank, Bethany asks why she has been called upon to save the universe Why can't God simply do it himself? Metatron admits that God's whereabouts are unknown. He disappeared while visiting New Jersey in human form to play skee-ball. The task falls to Bethany because she now learns she is the last scion, a distant but direct blood relative of Jesus. The group cannot persuade Glick to cancel the celebration. Jay steals one of Glick's golf clubs. The only remaining option is to keep the angels out of the church, but Azrael and the triplets trap them in a bar to prevent them from doing so. Azrael reveals that he sent the news clippings to the angels. He would rather all existence than spend eternity in hell. Bob kills Azrael with the golf club, which Glick had blessed to improve his game. Bethany blesses the bar sink's contents, and the others drown the triplets in holy water. They race to the church, where Bartleby has killed Glick, his parishioners, and assorted bystanders. When Loki, who is now wingless and therefore mortal, with a conscience, attempts to stop him, Bartleby kills him as well. All appears lost. Jay attempts to seduce Bethany before all existence ends. When he mentions John Doe, Jersey, Bethany finally puts all the clues together. She and Bob race across the street to the hospital as the others try to keep Bartleby from entering the church, but in doing so, Jay destroys his wings with automatic gunfire, making him mortal as well. Her faith restored, Bethany disconnects John's life support, liberating God, but killing herself. Bartleby reaches the church entrance, where he confronts God, manifested in female form, who annihilates him with her voice. Bob arrives with Bethany's lifeless body. God resurrects her and conceives a child, the new last scion, within her womb. God, Metatron, Rufus, and Serendipity return to heaven, leaving Bethany, Jay, and Silent Bob to reflect on the past and the future. The cast. Ben Affleck plays Bartleby. Matt Damon plays Loki. Linda Florentino as Bethany Sloan. Selma Hayek as Serendipity. Jason Lee as Azrael. Jason Mewes as Jay. Alan Rickman as the Metatron. Chris Rock as the 13th Apostle Rufus. Kevin Smith as Silent Bob. The legendary late George Carlin as Cardinal Ignatius Glick. Bud Cort as John Doe Jersey / God. Alanis Morissette as God. Janine Garofalo as Liz. Betty Alberton as a nun. Barrett Haneke. Jared Penfigo and Kaito Sariaki as the triplets. So, there you have it. My top 5 Kevin Smith movies. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I am planning on doing other videos like this where I'm giving you guys like my top 5 and stuff like that. I just have to figure out some of the ones I'm going to do. I have a couple in mind. So yeah, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, I will see you guys later. Peace.